Few names in gaming command as much intrigue as Hideo Kojima. The legendary game director, storyteller, and creative visionary has long been known for crafting experiences that blur the lines between cinema and interactive entertainment. When Death Stranding launched in 2019, it divided the gaming world with its unconventional gameplay and deeply philosophical themes. Some called it a masterpiece, others found it bewildering. But whether players loved or struggled with its mechanics, one thing was undeniable: Death Stranding was unlike anything before it. Now, nearly 6 years later, Kojima is back with Death Stranding 2. On the Beach, a sequel that promises to expand on the original's foundations while taking players on an even more surreal and emotional journey. Announced with a stunning 10-minute trailer during PlayStation's State of Play event, the game immediately set the internet ablaze. Cryptic imagery, returning in new characters, and Kojima's signature cinematic style hinted at a story deeper and more mysterious than ever before. But what exactly is Death Stranding 2? And why is this sequel already shaping up to be one of 2025's most anticipated releases? At the core of Death Stranding 2 is its creator, Hideo Kojima, a man whose name is synonymous with bold, unconventional storytelling. After parting ways with Konami in 2015, Kojima embarked on a new journey, forming Kojima Productions and striking a partnership with Sony Interactive Entertainment. The result was Death Stranding, a game that redefined what an open-world experience could be. Set in a post-apocalyptic United States ravaged by supernatural phenomena, Death Stranding followed Sam Porter Bridges, played by Norman Reedus, a lone deliverman tasked with reconnecting isolated cities. It was a game that defied expectations, offering a meditative, slow-paced exploration of connection, loneliness, and rebuilding society, themes that would become even more relevant in the years that followed. For Kojima, however, the story of Death Stranding was not yet complete. In multiple interviews, Kojima has hinted that he initially had no plans for a direct sequel. But then the world changed. The COVID-19 pandemic reshaped society in ways no one could have predicted, reinforcing the themes of isolation and human connection that Death Stranding explored so deeply. In response, Kojima made the unprecedented decision to rewrite the script, crafting a new story that reflected the post-pandemic world and its evolving challenges. After experiencing the pandemic, I completely rewrote the story. It's a new story with new themes, but the core idea remains the same: how we connect and rebuild after everything falls apart. Hideo Kojima, interview at State of Play. With these words, Kojima has set the stage for a sequel that isn't just a continuation, it's a reinvention. If Death Stranding was a game about building bridges, Death Stranding 2 looks to be a game about what happens after the bridges are built. The 10-minute reveal trailer, filled with cryptic visuals and hauntingly beautiful landscapes, offers only the faintest glimpses of what's to come. We see Sam Porter Bridges again, now sporting a grizzled beard, standing in a world that feels both familiar and alien. Fragile, played by Léa Seydoux, is also back, seemingly in a position of leadership. Then there's Neil, a mysterious new character played by Luca Marinelli, whose role in the story remains unknown. Perhaps the most striking visual from the trailer is the floating monolithic structure in the sky, a surreal addition that raises even more questions about the game's direction. Could it be another dimension? A remnant of the beach? Or something else entirely? And then there's the title itself, On the Beach. The beach, in the lore of Death Stranding, is a liminal space between life and death, a place where souls linger. The fact that Kojima chose this subtitle suggests that the sequel will delve even deeper into the nature of existence, the afterlife, and what it truly means to be stranded. Kojima's games are more than just experiences, they are events. Every reveal, every trailer, and every cryptic tweet he posts sends fans into deep speculation mode, and Death Stranding 2 is no exception. But beyond the hype and mystery, Kojima is also known for his technical ambition. Death Stranding 2 will once again use Guerrilla Games' Decima engine, the same powerful technology that powered the original game and Horizon Forbidden West. But this time, Kojima has promised even greater advancements, with more detailed environments, improved AI, and next-level physics. Furthermore, the game will feature cutting-edge motion capture and an all-star cast, including Norman Reedus, The Walking Dead, as Sam Bridges, Léa Seydoux, No Time to Die, as Fragile, Luca Marinelli, The Old Guard, as Neil. More cast members yet to be revealed. With Kojima's track record of assembling Hollywood-caliber talent, it wouldn't be surprising to see even more A-list actors joining the project. With a confirmed release date of June 26, 2025, Death Stranding 2 is positioned to be one of the biggest gaming events of the year. As fans eagerly await more details, one thing is certain: this isn't just another sequel. It's a statement, a bold new chapter in Kojima's ever-evolving vision. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when Kojima sets out to tell a story, expect the unexpected. So as we move closer to release, one question remains. What does it truly mean to be stranded? And what awaits us? On the beach? Death Stranding 2. On the beach, release date, and platforms. When Death Stranding 2. On the beach was officially announced, it wasn't just the breathtaking trailer or return of familiar characters that had fans buzzing. It was the confirmation of a solid release date, June 26, 2025. For a game shrouded in mystery and speculation, finally having a launch date cemented its imminence and significance in the gaming industry. The wait for Kojima's next big project was no longer an indefinite one. It was now a countdown to what could very well be one of the most ambitious games of the decade. But beyond just the date, one of the biggest discussions surrounding Death Stranding 2 is where players will be able to experience this surreal journey. With an ever-changing gaming landscape, shifting exclusivity deals, and new hardware developments, Death Stranding 2's platform availability is as important as its release date. So, what does Kojima Productions have in store for players when the game arrives in mid-2025? Let's break it all down. Hideo Kojima has always been extremely deliberate about how and when he releases his games. Unlike many developers who rush out holiday launches to capitalize on the gift-giving season, Kojima Productions is taking a summer approach, a strategy that speaks volumes about the game's importance. Historically, Kojima's biggest games have landed in the fall season, including Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, September 1, 2015. A Death Stranding, November 8, 2019. A June release is a notable shift, positioning Death Stranding 2 in the prime summer window, a time typically dominated by high-profile films rather than video games. But this could work in the game's favor. Unlike the crowded fall and holiday season, where juggernauts like Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, and other annual franchises dominate, summer provides a more open field. This means a less competition from other AAA titles, more media and player attention on Death Stranding 2, a longer runway to sustain engagement throughout the year. Sony's decision to launch Death Stranding 2 in June also suggests a bigger PlayStation strategy at play. With Marvel's Wolverine rumored for late 2025, Death Stranding 2 could serve as the first-half tentpole exclusive for PlayStation. A June release lets Sony kickstart summer sales, driving PlayStation 5 momentum into the latter half of the year. Kojima Productions and Sony have long had a close relationship, and this strategic release window only reinforces that bond. At launch, Death Stranding 2. On the beach will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. This means no PC or Xbox release, at least for now. From the moment Kojima Productions was formed, it was clear that PlayStation would be its home, at least initially. Sony provided support for Death Stranding's development. Guerrilla Games, a Sony-owned studio, gave Kojima access to the Decima engine, which powered the original Death Stranding and will once again be used for Death Stranding 2. Given this deep-rooted relationship, it's no surprise that PlayStation 5 is the exclusive launch platform. For those who own a PS5, this exclusivity ensures full optimization for PlayStation hardware. Exclusive DualSense features, such as haptic feedback and adaptive triggers enhancing immersion. Potential pre-order bonuses exclusive to PlayStation users. The original Death Stranding launched as a PS4 exclusive in 2019, but eventually made its way to PC in 2020 via 505 games. Given that history, it's highly likely that Death Stranding 2 will follow a similar trajectory. PS5 exclusive at launch, June 2025. PC release potentially in 2026. While no official PC version has been announced yet, Kojima himself has expressed interest in bringing his games to more platforms, making a PC release almost inevitable down the line. The news that Death Stranding 2 is not coming to Xbox may be disappointing, but it's also not surprising. Metal Gear Solid was long associated with PlayStation exclusivity. A Death Stranding launched exclusively on PlayStation, before later heading to PC. Interestingly, Kojima Productions does have an ongoing partnership with Xbox, but for a completely different game. Kojima is developing a cloud-based project exclusively for Xbox. This new game is rumored to be a horror title codenamed Overdose. With Kojima Productions working on two separate projects, one for PlayStation and one for Xbox, it seems that the studio is carefully balancing exclusivity between both platforms. For now, however, Death Stranding 2 remains a PlayStation-first experience. One of the biggest advantages of Death Stranding 2 being a PS5 only title is that it won't be held back by last-gen hardware limitations. With the power of the PlayStation 5, Death Stranding 2 will push the Decima engine further than ever before. Expect photorealistic environments with stunning lighting and textures, improved AI for both NPCs and enemies, more detailed open-world mechanics, making traversal even more immersive. Kojima Productions has hinted that Death Stranding 2 will feature seamless open-world exploration, made possible by the PS5's ultra-fast SSD. This could mean no loading screens between large areas, instant fast travel between locations, a more fluid and immersive experience. With Sony's DualSense controller, players can expect haptic feedback mimicking different terrain types, adaptive triggers enhancing interactions with equipment and vehicles, 3D audio support for a richer, more atmospheric experience. With a confirmed June 26, 2025 release date and PlayStation 5 exclusivity, Death Stranding 2 is shaping up to be one of the biggest gaming events of the year. For PlayStation players, it's a huge win, reinforcing Sony's position as the home of cinematic single-player experiences. For PC players, patience will likely pay off with an eventual port. And for Xbox users, while Death Stranding 2 won't be available, Kojima's future cloud-based project could bring something entirely new to the platform. As the countdown to June 2025 begins, one thing is certain. Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, is set to be more than just a game. It's an event, a journey, and a testament to Kojima's ever-evolving vision. If there's one thing Hideo Kojima has mastered, it's the art of the trailer. From his early days with Metal Gear Solid to his work at Kojima Productions, Kojima has built a reputation for crafting some of the most cinematic, cryptic, and thought-provoking trailers in the gaming industry. He doesn't just show gameplay or story elements. He constructs a puzzle, one that invites players to obsessively dissect every frame in search of hidden meanings, foreshadowing, and deeper connections to his overarching themes. With Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Kojima has outdone himself yet again. During the PlayStation State of Play event on March 9, 2025, he dropped an epic 10-minute trailer that instantly set the gaming world into a frenzy. But what exactly did we see? And more importantly, what does it all mean? Let's dive deep into the symbolism, story hints, and gameplay revelations hidden within Death Stranding 2's latest trailer. The trailer opens in a mysterious new environment, a massive desert-like wasteland bathed in an eerie orange glow. Unlike the rain-soaked, foggy landscapes of the original Death Stranding, this new setting feels harsher, more desolate, and possibly even extraterrestrial. One of the first characters we see is Fragile Leah Seydoux, now sporting a different outfit and a far more commanding presence. In the first game, Fragile was the leader of Fragile Express, a courier company that assisted in rebuilding America. Now, it appears she's in charge of a much larger operation, possibly a new faction working to reconnect the world. She stands before a massive group of people, hinting that she's no longer just a courier. She's a leader of an entire movement. Her dialogue is cryptic but profound. The world we built is crumbling. We need to cross the sands to find a new home. This suggests that something catastrophic has happened to the settlements Sam rebuilt in the first game. But what exactly? When we see Sam Porter Bridges, Norman Reedus, again, he looks older, more rugged, and emotionally drained. He now sports longer gray hair and a thick beard, indicating that significant time has passed since the events of the first game. His expression is one of exhaustion and sadness, hinting at a past trauma that still haunts him. Fragile approaches him and says, "I know you don't want to go back, but you're the only one who can." This immediately suggests that Sam has stepped away from his role as a courier and is reluctant to return. Something happened that made him turn his back on the world he once saved. But as we soon learn, he won't have much of a choice. Halfway through the trailer, we're introduced to a new antagonist, played by Luca Marinelli. His identity remains unknown, but he exudes a menacing presence that rivals even Death Stranding's first villain, Higgs Monaghan. The villain wears a dark, military-style uniform with a red mask covering his face. His voice is deep and commanding as he speaks to Sam. You thought you ended the cycle, but the beach isn't done with you yet. This immediately raises several questions. Who is this man? How does he know about the beach? Is he another Doom's carrier with supernatural abilities? The way he speaks suggests that he has intimate knowledge of the afterlife and its connection to the real world. Could he be part of a new faction that worships the beach rather than fearing it? We also see his army, a group of mysterious figures wearing golden masks and wielding high-tech weapons. However, their movements are unsettling, almost unnatural. Some theories suggest they might not be fully human, but rather beings connected to the beach, possibly a new type of BT-human hybrid. This could introduce a terrifying new enemy type, unlike the ghosts and spectral beings we encountered in the first game. Perhaps the most visually striking moment of the trailer comes when we see a gigantic floating structure in the sky. It resembles a monolithic spacecraft, though its surface looks organic, almost like it's alive. A lightning crackles around it, and black tendrils reach downward toward the Earth. It appears to be hovering over a desert landscape, directly above a massive sinkhole. Fragile whispers. This isn't our world anymore. This implies that whatever this monolithic structure is, it represents something entirely new. Perhaps an entirely different dimension or parallel reality. Could it be a physical manifestation of the beach? Or is it connected to an alien force that was hinted at in the first game? The latter half of the trailer gives us glimpses of new gameplay mechanics, confirming that Death Stranding 2 will expand beyond the delivery-based gameplay of its predecessor. One key shot shows Sam driving a new type of vehicle, resembling an all-terrain dune buggy. This suggests that Death Stranding 2 will feature more vehicle-based exploration, especially in vast desert environments. It also hints that the game's world is larger and more open than before. Unlike the first game, which had limited combat mechanics, Death Stranding 2 appears to feature more fluid gunplay, with Sam using a futuristic assault rifle, a melee system where Sam can counter enemies with brutal takedowns, new enemy types, including monstrous creatures that don't resemble traditional BTs. This suggests that Kojima Productions is revamping the action elements, making combat a more integral part of the experience. In one sequence, Sam uses a high-tech grappling hook to scale a massive cliff. This could indicate a more vertical-level design, requiring players to think creatively about traversal. The trailer closes with a haunting image. Sam stands on a beach, staring at a figure in the distance. The figure is shadowy, genderless, and glowing faintly. As the waves crash, we hear a distorted voice whisper. Come back to me. Is this Amelie? Is it a new entity from the beach? Or is it something else entirely? The trailer ends abruptly, leaving players with more questions than answers. Classic Kojima. What have we learned? Sam is older, more reluctant, and drawn back into a larger mystery. A fragile is now leading a major movement. A new villain, possibly tied to the beach, is emerging. The world is changing, perhaps merging with another dimension. A gameplay is evolving, with new vehicles, combat, and traversal mechanics. While we may not have all the answers yet, one thing is certain. Death Stranding 2 is shaping up to be an even grander, more ambitious experience than its predecessor. And as always, Kojima has left us craving more. Hideo Kojima is more than just a game developer. He's a storyteller, a world builder, and a philosopher. His games are never just about gameplay. They're experiences that explore deep, existential questions about humanity, technology, and the fragile connections that bind us together. Death Stranding 2 on the beach is shaping up to be one of his most ambitious narratives yet, packed with philosophical depth, symbolic storytelling, and thought-provoking themes that challenge the player's perception of reality. The original Death Stranding was a meditation on isolation, connection, and the consequences of our technological advancements, drawing heavy inspiration from real-world issues like climate change, digital alienation, and political division. With Death Stranding 2, Kojima seems to be taking these themes even further, exploring what happens when the bonds we forge are not enough to prevent catastrophe. But what are the key themes and ideas hidden in the latest trailer? What deeper narrative threads is Kojima weaving into the sequel? Let's break down some of the core philosophical elements that are likely to shape Death Stranding 2. What is the beach? The beach is one of the most intriguing and enigmatic concepts in the Death Stranding universe. It is a liminal space between life and death, a place where spirits linger before passing on. or in some cases, refused to leave entirely. In the first game, the beach functioned as a metaphysical highway, connecting the living and the dead. Sam Bridges, as a repatriate, had the unique ability to return from death by navigating the beach, making him an anomaly in the cycle of life and death. But in Death Stranding 2, it appears that the beach is evolving, or perhaps breaking down entirely. The new trailer includes visuals of massive oceanic rifts consuming landscapes, a floating monolith that seems to pulse with supernatural energy, entities emerging from the beach in new, more terrifying forms. Fragile's haunting words, "This isn't our world anymore," suggest that the barriers between the living world and the beach are weaker than ever. Could Death Stranding 2 explore a scenario where the beach merges with reality? If so, how does that change the fundamental laws of existence? This concept aligns with quantum physics and multiverse theories, which Kojima has referenced in past interviews. The beach may not be just a spiritual realm, but a parallel dimension, one that is now bleeding into our world. The first Death Stranding was built around the theme of connection, bringing people together in a world torn apart by isolation. Sam's mission was to reconnect America, rebuilding the chiral network to restore communication and trade between distant settlements. But now things have changed. The trailer hints that the society Sam helped rebuild is crumbling. Fragile mentions that the world they built is falling apart, and Sam seems unwilling to return to his old role. This raises a critical question. Was reconnecting the world ever enough? A Death Stranding focused on the physical act of connection, delivering packages, rebuilding roads, and setting up infrastructure. But it never fully addressed the human element. What happens when people fear connection more than they embrace it? In a post-Death Stranding world, where the trauma of the past lingers, are people even capable of maintaining the unity Sam worked so hard to create? This could be a direct commentary on modern society's struggle with digital connectivity. Despite the internet making communication easier than ever, we see widening divisions, political, social, and ideological. A Death Stranding May 2nd explore the consequences of forced connection. What happens when people are brought together, but their wounds never heal? Sam's reluctance to return suggests that he no longer believes in the mission. But something will force him back into the fight. The introduction of a new antagonist, played by Luca Marinelli, adds another layer of mystery. Unlike Higgs from the first game, who sought to accelerate humanity's extinction, this new villain appears to have a different ideology entirely. His cryptic words, "You thought you ended the cycle, but the beach isn't done with you yet," imply that he sees the beach as something sacred, possibly even a force to be embraced rather than feared. This could signal the rise of a new faction, one that doesn't want to restore the world, but rather embrace the beach's influence and the merging of life and death. Kojima has always been fascinated with cult-like groups and radical ideologies. In Metal Gear Solid, we saw the Patriots, a shadow organization manipulating world events. O Outer Heaven, Big Boss's vision of a world without political control. Skullface's pursuit of a world without language in MGSV. Death Stranding May 2nd introduce a cult devoted to the beach, believing that its arrival is inevitable and that fighting against it is pointless. If this is true, then Sam and Fragile are not just fighting against a physical enemy. They're battling an ideological war, one that questions the very nature of life and death. One of the most visually striking moments in the trailer is the colossal floating structure, looming over the landscape like an ominous god. Its design is reminiscent of the monoliths from 2001, A Space Odyssey, a major influence on Kojima. The Leviathans from Mass Effect, ancient entities that predate known history. The Black Cube Theory, a real-world esoteric concept tied to time, space, and interdimensional travel. But what does it mean in Death Stranding 2? There are a few possibilities. It's a new form of the beach. Instead of being a separate realm, the beach is now a physical entity merging with our world. It's an alien structure. Kojima has hinted at the idea of extraterrestrial origins in past games. Could this monolith be something older than humanity, tied to the very fabric of existence? It's a portal to another dimension. If the beach is breaking into reality, maybe this structure is a gateway, allowing new entities to enter our world. The fact that it hovers above a massive sinkhole suggests that it might be rewriting the laws of physics, tearing apart the Earth itself. Perhaps the biggest philosophical question Death Stranding 2 poses is this: can the cycle of death and rebirth ever be broken? In the first game, Sam repeatedly cheated death, returning from the beach over and over again. But what if there's a price for this ability? What if escaping death is what keeps the cycle going? The final shot of the trailer, Sam standing on the beach, staring at a shadowy figure whispering, "Come back to me," suggests that he may have one final journey to make. Is Sam destined to break the cycle? Or is he merely another pawn in the beach's endless game? With Death Stranding 2, Kojima is diving even deeper into existentialism, metaphysics, and the nature of human connection. The beach is evolving, but into what? A new faction wants to embrace it, but why? Sam is weary, but needed once more. Can he make a difference? Whatever the answers are, one thing is certain. Kojima has created another masterpiece of mystery, and will be dissecting it for years to come. If Death Stranding was a bold experiment in redefining what a video game could be, then Death Stranding 2. On the Beach is shaping up to be the evolution of that vision, the refinement, expansion, and deepening of its core mechanics. Kojima's games have always pushed the boundaries of interactivity, blending storytelling and gameplay in ways that feel unique to his style. But how does Death Stranding 2 build upon the foundation of the first game? What new mechanics will change the way players interact with its strange, haunting world? From the trailers and interviews, it's clear that On the Beach introduces new traversal and exploration mechanics, advanced combat and weaponry, a deeper, more interactive world, expanded multiplayer and cooperative elements. Let's break down the biggest gameplay changes and how they redefine the experience. One of the biggest innovations in Death Stranding was how traversal was a challenge in itself. Unlike most games where movement is simple, Death Stranding required players to carefully plan routes, manage weight distribution, and navigate treacherous terrain. In Death Stranding 2, the world appears even more dynamic and unpredictable. The new walking mech. In the trailer, Sam is seen piloting a large, spider-like mechanical exosuit. This suggests that players will have heavier, more durable traversal options, possibly for carrying larger cargo or moving through unstable environments. The mech could also hint at combat applications, making Sam a mobile fortress against threats. A more advanced motorcycle. The motorcycle from the first game returns, but appears faster and more versatile. Given the new, more chaotic landscapes, it's possible that vehicles will now have more customization, adapting to different environments, e.g. sand, snow, or rocky terrain. Dynamic landscapes. The world looks more unstable, with massive fissures, shifting sands, and collapsing ground. This suggests that terrain might change in real time, forcing players to adapt and find alternative routes. Underwater traversal? One of the trailer's most striking scenes shows Sam and Fragile submerged underwater, drifting toward the surface. Could this mean that underwater exploration is now a key mechanic? Given Death Stranding's themes of oceanic liminality and the beach, this could lead to some truly bizarre and immersive gameplay experiences. Gravity manipulation? One sequence in the trailer shows Sam standing near a floating monolith, where objects around him are levitating. This hints at gravity-altering mechanics, possibly affecting movement and cargo balance. Traversal in Death Stranding 2 is no longer just about moving from point A to point B. It's about surviving a world that is shifting beneath your feet. While the first Death Stranding did feature combat, it was often secondary to the experience, encouraging stealth, avoidance, and strategy over confrontation. In Death Stranding 2, however, combat seems more intense, varied, and integrated into the story. More advanced weapons and tools. The floating cube gun. In the trailer, Sam wields a mysterious energy-based weapon, which seems to use gravity fields to trap and manipulate enemies. Could this mean we'll have more sci-fi-inspired weaponry, reflecting the beach's growing influence? Expanded melee combat. Sam is seen engaging in more fluid hand-to-hand combat, suggesting a deeper melee system with dodges, counters, and grapples. Improved stealth mechanics. In one moment, Sam is seen sneaking through ruins, avoiding red-masked soldiers. This suggests that stealth might be more refined, possibly with new tools like disguises, environmental camouflage, or sound manipulation. Red-masked soldiers. The trailer introduces a faction of heavily armed enemies, wearing red masks with strange symbols. They appear to be part of a fanatic cult, possibly worshipping the beach and its supernatural forces. Unlike Higgs' anarchist terrorists, these soldiers are organized, disciplined, and tactically skilled. More dangerous BTs. The original game's BTs were terrifying, but Death Stranding 2 introduces new variations, including larger, more aggressive forms that appear to hunt in packs. Some beasts seem to have adaptive abilities, possibly evolving. If the first Death Stranding made players fear combat, On the Beach seems to be giving players more tools to fight back, but also more terrifying enemies to match. One of Death Stranding's most unique mechanics was its online multiplayer element, where players could indirectly help one another by leaving structures, signs, and resources across the world. In Death Stranding 2, this asynchronous multiplayer system seems to be expanding dramatically. The trailer showcases massive settlements, suggesting that players might now be able to construct entire communities, rather than just individual shelters. This could lead to emergent gameplay, where the world's infrastructure evolves based on player collaboration. In one scene, Sam is caught in a massive dust storm, struggling against the wind. This suggests more extreme weather conditions, possibly affecting visibility, movement speed, enemy behavior, more interactive NPCs. The world feels more alive, with characters appearing to have deeper, more dynamic interactions with Sam. If settlements are more developed, NPCs might have routines, needs, and unique side quests that change over time. This all points to Death Stranding 2 having a world that responds to the player's actions in ways that weren't possible in the first game. Perhaps the most exciting gameplay change is the growing influence of the beach, which now appears to be warping reality itself. The floating monolith and gravity distortions suggest that the beach is no longer just a separate dimension. It's invading the real world. This could lead to surreal, shifting environments, where the world transforms dynamically. Players might even be able to manipulate the beach in new ways, using its power to bend time, space, and physics. Death Stranding 2. On the Beach isn't just a sequel, it's a reinvention. A traversal is more complex and dynamic. Combat is more intense. The world is evolving in real time. The beach itself is becoming an active force. Every mechanic seems to be expanding upon the original, creating a bigger, more immersive experience that blurs the line between reality and the unknown. If Death Stranding was about building connections, then Death Stranding 2 is about what happens when those connections break. And what comes next? Kojima's games have always been more than just gameplay mechanics and cinematic spectacle. At their core, they are deeply thematic explorations of society, technology, philosophy, and human nature. With Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, it's clear that Kojima is diving even deeper into the existential questions that made the first game so thought-provoking. If Death Stranding was about connection, rebuilding society, and overcoming isolation, then On the Beach seems to be tackling something even more unsettling. The cost of those connections, the fragility of what we build, the inevitability of collapse and renewal. Through its story, characters, and world, Death Stranding 2 appears to be exploring grief, death, and the boundaries of existence in ways that only Kojima could. Let's break down the core themes that seem to define the game's emotional and philosophical foundation. In Death Stranding, the beach was a mysterious limbo, a place between life and death where lost souls lingered. But in On the Beach, its influence seems to have grown. In the trailer, time and reality appear distorted, as though the beach is no longer just a place one visits after death. It's seeping into the real world. Sam is seen interacting with characters who should be dead, suggesting that the boundary between the living and the dead is breaking down. At one point, Fragile ominously tells Sam, "We should have never connected." What does this mean? Has humanity's attempt to rebuild in the first game somehow made things worse? This could mean that On the Beach is no longer just about survival, but the consequences of defying the natural order. Is humanity meant to be connected? Or have they tampered with forces beyond their understanding? The first Death Stranding was an allegory for isolation and reconnection, a world where society had collapsed, and it was up to Sam to rebuild it. But now, in On the Beach, the world seems to be falling apart again. The settlements Sam once fought to rebuild appear desolate, crumbling, and abandoned. Sam, who once believed in the mission of reconnecting the world, now looks wary, doubtful, and exhausted. The trailer suggests that there's a new threat, something even more insidious than Higgs or the first game's terrorists. This suggests that Death Stranding 2 might be tackling a darker question. What if rebuilding civilization was the wrong choice? What if connecting people didn't save them, but doomed them? One of the more cryptic elements of the Death Stranding 2 trailer is the presence of enigmatic characters, particularly the masked figure with the silver, doll-like face, Troy Baker's Higgs or someone else. This figure seems to represent something larger than just a villain. They might symbolize control, manipulation, or destiny. In Death Stranding, the beach was tied to fate and predestination. People who died were trapped there, unable to move on. In On the Beach, the game seems to be asking, can we truly escape our fate? Or are we just repeating the same mistakes? Kojima has always been fascinated with cycles of violence, war, and human nature. Metal Gear Solid explored this too. Perhaps Sam's journey is about breaking free from a predetermined outcome, escaping not just the beach, but the expectations placed on him. Could Death Stranding 2 be about fighting against the very system that governs life and death? Kojima has frequently tackled the dangers of technology, and Death Stranding 2 appears to continue this theme. The new robotic machines, such as the walking spider mech, seem to suggest a world where humanity is becoming more reliant on automation. The mysterious red-masked soldiers could represent a cult or group that rejects technology, seeing it as the reason the world is collapsing. Fragile's organization now appears to be more militarized, suggesting that even those who once believed in peaceful connection now resort to force. With advancements in AI, automation, and synthetic life, Death Stranding 2 might be asking, at what point does technology stop being a tool and start controlling us? Have we built something we can no longer stop? This could tie into the beach's growing influence, as if humanity's attempt to overcome death through technology has backfired. One of the most striking moments in the Death Stranding 2 trailer is Lou, Sam's BB, now fully grown and alive. In Death Stranding, BBs were symbolic of hope, life, and the fragility of existence. Now, Lou appears to be a young girl, and her presence suggests that time has passed and the next generation is taking shape. This introduces one of the most personal and emotional themes of the game. What does it mean to be a parent? What do we leave behind for the next generation? If Sam is now a father figure, his journey could be about more than just survival. It could be about protecting the future, ensuring that Lou and others like her don't inherit a broken world. But if Death Stranding 2 is about cycles repeating, is Sam destined to fail? If Death Stranding was about rebuilding after disaster, then On the Beach seems to be about what comes next. What happens after we put the pieces back together? The beach is growing, consuming reality. The world is crumbling again, despite Sam's efforts. Humanity is questioning whether connection was the right path. A Lou represents the next generation. But what world is she inheriting? Hideo Kojima has always been a storyteller who challenges expectations. He doesn't just create games. He crafts philosophical experiences that leave players questioning the nature of reality itself. Death Stranding 2 On the Beach looks to be his most ambitious, thought-provoking story yet. One that won't just ask players to reconnect the world, but to confront the consequences of doing so. Kojima Productions has never shied away from high-profile casting, and Death Stranding 2 On the Beach is no exception. Hideo Kojima's storytelling thrives on deeply emotional performances, and he has once again assembled a stellar lineup of renowned actors, musicians, and cinematic icons to bring his vision to life. But in classic Kojima fashion, not everything is as it seems. Each new trailer raises more questions than answers about the roles these actors will play. Who are they? How do they fit into Death Stranding's ever-expanding mythology? And what secrets are they hiding? Let's break down the confirmed cast, analyze their potential roles, and explore how they could shape the story of On the Beach. The return of the reluctant hero. Norman Reedus reprises his role as Sam Porter Bridges, the weary courier who once single-handedly reconnected America in the first game. But this is not the same Sam we knew. He looks older, more burdened, and perhaps even disillusioned with the mission he once believed in. In the trailer, Sam expresses hesitation about joining the fight again, but Fragile insists that he must. His hands visibly shake. Is it trauma? A new illness? Or something tied to the beach? Key questions about Sam's role. Why did he leave Bridges? What changed since the first game? Why is he hesitant to fight again? Sam is no longer just a courier. He's a man haunted by his past, possibly facing his greatest challenge yet. Fragile, once the head of Fragile Express, seems to have taken a more militarized approach to rebuilding the world. In the trailer, she wears a new suit that suggests she is no longer just a delivery company CEO. She's a commander, a leader of a resistance movement. She seems stronger, more hardened, but there's an underlying sadness in her voice. One of the most haunting lines she delivers. We should have never connected. Is she regretting their mission? Did reconnecting the world lead to an even greater catastrophe? What happened to Fragile Express? Why does she seem more desperate than before? What does she know about the beach's growing influence? Fragile appears to be pushing Sam back into the fight, but is she telling him everything? The return of the enigmatic villain, or something more? Troy Baker's Higgs was the main antagonist of Death Stranding, a chaotic terrorist who wielded the power of the beach to cause destruction. At the end of the first game, he was seemingly defeated, stripped of his abilities. Yet, in the Death Stranding 2 trailer, Higgs returns, but he's changed. He wears a silver mask, his body seemingly augmented by some kind of synthetic technology. He wields a guitar-like weapon, which appears to have some strange, unexplained power. How did he survive after his apparent defeat? What is the significance of his new mask? Has he gained new powers, or has someone given him a second chance? Higgs was already dangerous, but now he seems reborn, and possibly more powerful than ever. A new face, shrouded in mystery. Elle Fanning's character has been teased heavily, but her true identity remains unknown. In one haunting shot, she is seen standing in a glowing tunnel, her gaze almost hypnotic. Some fans speculate she could be Lou, Sam's former BB, now grown up, but nothing has been confirmed. Others theorize she might be a new form of Amelie, or even a being directly connected to the beach itself. What are the key questions about Elle Fanning's character? Is she a survivor, or something supernatural? Does she have a connection to Sam's past? Is she an ally, or something far more dangerous? Given Kojima's history, she may turn out to be the most important character in the game. Another mysterious new addition to the cast is Shioli Katsuna. Her character has been shown only briefly, and her role is completely unknown. Given Kojima's past character designs, she could be a scientist researching the beach, a new antagonist connected to the masked cultists, someone from Sam's past, possibly tied to his lost memories. Until more footage is revealed, her presence remains a mystery. Aside from the main cast, Kojima has hinted at even more actors and musicians appearing in the game. Given his past collaborations, such as Mads Mikkelsen and Guillermo del Toro in the first game, it's likely that we'll see cameos from Hollywood icons, a role for a major musician, as Kojima is known for working with artists he admires, surprise voice actors that will leave fans shocked. Knowing Kojima, the cast could expand in ways we don't even expect. With such a talented lineup, the real mystery isn't just the cast, it's their roles. Sam is haunted and reluctant. Fragile is hiding something. Higgs is reborn, stronger than before. New characters like Elle Fanning's figure could change everything. The more we see, the more questions arise. Who are these people? What secrets are they keeping? And how will their choices decide the fate of the world? Death Stranding 2. On the Beach isn't just shaping up to be a cinematic masterpiece. It's a character-driven odyssey, one where every actor brings something unique and mysterious to the story. With Kojima's history of deception, nothing is certain, except for one thing. Nothing is what it seems. Hideo Kojima has never been just a game developer. He's a visionary, an auteur who constantly pushes the boundaries of what video games can be. With Death Stranding 2 on the beach, he's not only expanding upon the foundation laid by the first game, but he's also challenging the industry itself. Kojima has long described his work as being beyond traditional gaming, blending elements of cinema, music, and interactive storytelling into something uniquely his own. With On the Beach, he may be redefining what a video game even is. Let's explore how Death Stranding 2 could impact the future of storytelling, technology, and game design. Few developers craft stories as ambitious and enigmatic as Kojima. The Death Stranding series isn't just about gameplay. It's an experience, one that forces players to engage with philosophical questions about life, death, and human connection. With On the Beach, Kojima is blurring the lines between cutscenes and gameplay even further, expanding character depth, making interactions feel more like a cinematic drama than a traditional game. Using non-linear storytelling, where past and present may bleed into one another, mirroring the game's themes of time and fate. Kojima has always experimented with breaking the fourth wall, from Metal Gear Solid's Psycho Mantis reading the player's memory card to Death Stranding's multiplayer system, where players indirectly help each other. On the Beach might introduce even more innovative mechanics that challenge our expectations of narrative structure. Could we see a game that reacts to the player's choices in ways never seen before? An ever-evolving story that shifts dynamically? A meta experience where the game acknowledges the player's role beyond just controlling Sam? Whatever the case, Death Stranding 2 is likely to redefine how games tell stories. Kojima has always been at the forefront of technical innovation, and On the Beach appears to be his most advanced project yet. The Decima engine, which powered the first Death Stranding, has been upgraded to deliver even more photorealistic character models and environments. The level of facial detail, animation, and lighting showcased in the trailers suggests that Kojima Productions is aiming for unparalleled realism. The game's weather effects, fluid physics, and open-world terrain are expected to feel more immersive than ever. Kojima's world-building has always been expansive, but On the Beach could introduce a more dynamic, living world where events unfold organically. A deeper AI system that makes NPCs feel more like real people. A redefined multiplayer element where players interact in ways beyond just leaving structures behind. Kojima has expressed interest in AI-driven storytelling, hinting that On the Beach may feature more reactive dialogue and encounters. Could this be the first Kojima game where characters adapt to your decisions in real time? If anyone is going to push the boundaries of game tech, it's Kojima. When Death Stranding was first revealed, Kojima described it as the first in a new type of game genre, the Strand genre. Unlike traditional action or RPG games, Death Stranding focused on indirect cooperation, where players helped each other without ever directly interacting. Bridges, ladders, and signs left by one player could impact another's journey, a metaphor for how humans connect in real life. With On the Beach, the Strand genre could evolve further. Could players actively shape the world together? Will multiplayer elements become more intertwined with the story? Could Kojima introduce new ways for players to communicate beyond just leaving behind objects? If Death Stranding was about building connections, On the Beach might be about how those connections change over time, and whether they should exist at all. This could influence future games, leading to a new wave of social, connection-driven experiences. Kojima is not just making Death Stranding 2, he's shaping the future of how games are made. His approach to storytelling, motion capture, and cinematic presentation has already inspired a new generation of developers. On the Beach might push even more studios to experiment with non-traditional narratives, hybrid storytelling that blends film and gaming, new ways to engage players emotionally. Beyond just Death Stranding, Kojima has hinted at a new horror game, OD, which could redefine psychological horror. A growing interest in film and TV, with Kojima Productions expanding beyond games. Kojima isn't just making a game, he's changing the medium itself. Kojima's stories are always deeply tied to the real world, reflecting modern issues and anxieties. Metal Gear Solid tackled war, AI, and the manipulation of history. Death Stranding explored isolation, pandemics, and human connection. On the Beach seems to be addressing the consequences of our choices, the fear of the unknown, and the fragility of civilization. Could it be Kojima's most profound statement yet? Death Stranding 2 On the Beach isn't just another sequel. It's shaping up to be a landmark moment in gaming history. It's pushing narrative boundaries. It's advancing technology and AI. It's redefining how players interact with a game's world. Hideo Kojima is once again proving that video games aren't just entertainment. They are art, philosophy, and emotional experiences rolled into one. As the echoes of Death Stranding 2 On the Beach ripple across the gaming world, one thing is clear. Hideo Kojima has once again crafted an experience that defies convention, challenges perception, and invites endless speculation. From the eerie landscapes to the enigmatic characters, every frame of this sequel hints at something deeper lurking beneath the surface. But the biggest question remains: what is the true meaning behind Sam's journey? What secrets lie within the fragile balance between life and death, reality and illusion? And more importantly, what has Kojima hidden in plain sight that we haven't even noticed yet? This is only the beginning of unraveling Death Stranding 2's mysteries. As new theories emerge, secrets are uncovered, and gameplay unfolds, we'll be diving even deeper. So stay tuned, because the answers may be closer than we think, or further than we ever imagined. If you want to uncover the hidden details and theories behind Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Lost Secrets, deleted levels, hidden skaters, and scrapped features, check out our deep dive analysis here.